The world of literature is endlessly expansive. Epic tales from all throughout human history are at your fingertip. From Homer's Odyssey, to The Boy Who Lived, to the unimaginable depths of the cosmos, all the way back to the Epic of Gilgamesh. Stories larger than life cover the shelves of every library there is, filled with more characters in them than people you could name in real life. Massive tomes consisting of never-ending pages waiting to be consumed. Not literally. Eating Dune isn't going to help you understand the Bene Gesserit. Trust me, I've tried. And while reading these epic and engaging fantasy stories filled with political turmoil,
isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
And epic last stands can be a deeply rewarding experience, it can also be a bit stressful. Not stressful like you can't pay your dog's vet bill stressful.
Michael! Don't leave me here! Michael!
I guess mentally taxing would be a better way of putting it. For many people, reading is an escape, a way to send your mind somewhere else, to feel the abrasive sands of Arrakis brush against your skin, or look out in the city of Rivendell. More simply, to bring your consciousness to a state of relaxation.
I'm in my cabin, I'm going to put my feet up, I'm going to turn on my personal relaxation light.
Sometimes, an enthralling tale of epic proportions is just what you need. Other times, something simpler is needed, something smaller. Cozy, if you will. Maybe endless war on a galactic scale is a bit too much for you right now. Allow me to introduce you to the world of cozy fantasy. It's quite nice here. The page counts are short, the stakes are low, and the good stuff comes in pints.
You can kick your fancy ales, you can drink them by the flagon, but the only food for the brave and true comes from the Green Dragon.
So what defines a cozy fantasy story? The official definition is any story that has low stakes. This is a decent definition, but not necessarily what comes to mind for me when I think of cozy fantasy. Stakes are relative. What may be a big deal to you might not matter at all to someone else. Running a coffee shop might seem pretty low stakes from the outside, but if it's your livelihood and you ask the owner, it's pretty high stakes for them. So really, cozy fantasy is any kind of story that sets your mind at ease when you're reading it. Are the stakes low in The Hobbit? I mean, kinda. We are dealing with a fire-breathing dragon and the end of the royal bloodline of dwarves, but when you read The Hobbit, you aren't too worried about that stuff moment to moment. It's more about Bilbo problem-solving his way across Middle-earth to reach the Lonely Mountain. Being hunted by spiders, solving riddles, having a dinner party. These are the scenes that come to my mind when I think of The Hobbit, not the grand overall plot. And that's what separates cozy fantasy from epic fantasy. What you take away from the story. When you think back on it, what do you remember? The intricate factional system and political maneuvering of Muad'Dib, or the funny robot that helps the tea monk cook dinner? That's how you find where cozy fantasy lies. Now, you know I wouldn't make this video without some recommendations for you, so I have two of my favorite cozy fantasy novels to share with you. Both have come out in the past couple of years, so they're relatively new releases. Quick warning, I'm not going to intentionally spoil any major plot points, but if you want to go into these books completely blind, I recommend skipping to here to avoid minor spoilers. The first book I have to recommend to you is probably the most popular cozy fantasy story there is. This book blew up in the last couple of years through TikTok, and I have to say it absolutely lives up to the hype. That being, of course, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, a delightful tale about an orc who opens a coffee shop. If you're just getting into cozy fantasy, this is both an essential and the penultimate cozy fantasy story. We follow Viv, who has saved up enough coin doing mercenary work to open up her own coffee shop in a city where no one has heard of coffee. We see her struggles of adjusting to a more domestic life from the wild and dangerous profession she has worked for many years, as well as try to cover up the slowly unraveling dark secret that has followed her from her past life to this new one. I really can't say enough positives about this story. The characters are lovable, the pacing is excellent, everything about it is near perfection, and it perfectly encapsulates the feeling of relaxing in a small cafe, enjoying a hot coffee and a cinnamon roll. The only negative I can think of is that it's pretty hard to binge this book. It's so relaxing that reading it at night is tough. I fell asleep quite a few times reading this one. Not because it's boring, I would just get so relaxed I'd pass out before I could get through too many chapters.
Documents were in place. Buford, you listening? Now get this. That's when the subcommittee had to reallocate the funds.
And you can't talk about this book without mentioning how amazing the characters are written. They all feel so unique and have their own aura to them. Each character has their own little arc, and any characters with mysteries are paced so well you want to see their story through to the end. I won't mention any of their arcs because you really should enjoy them on your own, but I do want to bring up my favorite character, Thimble. He's a rat that bakes pastries. Look at how cute he is. Look at him. Look at his little face. Absolutely adorable.
God damn it! Which Ninja Turtle are you? We can't possibly all be Donatello. It is not mathematically possible. Somebody needs to be that stupid rat!
All the characters in this book are like this. Not rats, but they all have very unique personalities that come across so lifelike on the page. Whenever a character enters a scene, you know it's them immediately, just from their vibe and the way they communicate. Really though, the backbone of this story is the very slowly developing relationship between our main character Viv and her employee/partner, Tandri. Seeing their bond strengthen over the course of the book is delightful and serves as a rock to anchor us to the story, a checkpoint to go back to when it seems that everything is crashing down. But even past Tandri, all of the characters in this story become endeared to you, and you want to see them succeed in their own ways. Legends and Lattes is a wonderful cozy fantasy, and if you're at all interested in the genre, I recommend you start here. Even if you find out it's not your thing, there's no way you'll regret reading a book this well written. The next book I decided to read on a whim, and it turned into one of my favorite books, period, not just cozy fantasy. That book is A Psalm for the Wild Build by Becky Chambers. It's hard to talk about everything I love about this book without spoiling anything, so I'll try and be as vague as possible. Basic premise, A Psalm for the Wild Build is a story about a traveling tea monk who meets a robot on his journeys. What's special about this is that this book is based in a world where humans have realized their greed and the corruption it infects the world with, and decide to change their ways. Humans and robots have parted and no longer interact with each other. They have chosen to live entirely separately. This is the story of the first interaction between humans and robots since their separation. A Psalm for the Wild Build is definitely more on the therapeutic side of cozy fantasy. While it is relaxing and endearing, the book does dive into some deeper themes about purpose and compassion, not just towards others, but also towards yourself. But even with those themes, this is no dour and depressing book. As with all cozy fantasy, it's made up of small moments. Our main character, Dex, is a traveling tea monk, essentially a roaming therapist. And it is a story of Dex discovering what their purpose is and finding meaning behind their life. But my favorite part of the story is the world A Psalm for the Wild Build is based in. This is a society where humans have decided to forego industry and instead focus on compassion and reason. This is the kind of world I would want to live in, where efficiency isn't the ultimate goal of everything, and where people know it's okay to do things a little slower. A society that recognizes their destructive nature and steps carefully, leaving space for nature to bloom. Yeah, that would be nice. There's a lot more to this story than that, but you should really experience it for yourself. The unraveling of Dex's internal turmoil and the relationship they build with Mosscap as they bridge the gap between species is beautiful. I could really talk about this book all day, but like I said, reading it for yourself is an experience on its own. Plus, the sun is rising and eyelids are opening. The cozy fantasy of meals. There's always something special about making a large breakfast. You feel very in tune with yourself. Whether it's the classic pancake or something a little more new age, breakfast is a staple. You get a different feeling from sitting down and eating a nice breakfast than you do from any other meal. It's a chance to sit and gather your thoughts before you see what the day has in store for you. To eat a combination of foods that probably isn't acceptable at any other time. Cake covered in liquid sugar? Sure. Cold pizza? Why not? Granola and fruit? Topped with chocolate chips? Absolutely. Breakfast is such a diverse meal that you can really have whatever you want, and that aspect helps give it that special feeling. If you think about it and leave some room for whimsy, breakfast and cozy fantasy are one and the same. Both are therapeutic and relaxing in their own ways, and yeah, you can make an excellent steak or sit down to a delicious ahi salad, but sometimes you really just need a good muffin and a hot coffee to make your troubles melt away. Much like Viv running her coffee shop, or Dex being a tea monk, we all have responsibilities and priorities of our own. Things can become very hectic and stressful. Life can become an overbearing weight that feels like it's crushing you into the ground. You feel like you're suffocating, and there's never going to be any reprieve. But sometimes, you just need to sit down, take a deep breath, and share a meal with a friend.